Folks, Sretan Patak, happy Friday. I am Sarah of Expat in Croatia, and this is 5 Question Friday. Every Friday at 5 o'clock Croatia time, I answer 5 questions about Croatia from people who have sent them in on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, expatinCroatia.com, email my consulting sessions, and people who use invisible ink. So hi, welcome. How's your week? Mine was good. Mostly I was preparing for Thanksgiving, hence my quiet demeanor, I have to say. So Thanksgiving is my most favorite holiday of the year, aside from Sveti Duje. That is also at the top of the list. But as far as American holidays go, Thanksgiving is my most favorite because you get together with your family and you overeat on a lot of delicious food that is very near and dear to my heart. And that's what I did. And I celebrate it every year in Croatia, and I always cook, and I love to cook. That was like an all-day affair. Got up at 4:15 yesterday morning and cooked all day, and then had a beautiful lunch with some of my favorite people in Croatia, and it was quite joyous. So I have a routine on the Friday after Thanksgiving. I don't let anybody clean up. Everyone was offering to clean up, and I'm like, no. Please, this is part of the ritual. So on Friday mornings, I get up and I clean everything up, and I really love doing that. So today I'm taking it easy because I've been cooking for 2 days, maybe 2 weeks. And I would like to tell you what I'm thankful for. So on Thanksgiving, it's very traditional to say what you're grateful for, or thankful for, excuse me. So I'm going to tell you what I'm grateful for. I'm really thankful that I've gotten the opportunity to live in Croatia for 12 years. I'm very grateful for the opportunity to travel around Croatia as much as I have gotten to the last few years. This last year I got to go to Pula and Zadar and Karlovac and Zagreb and Lošinj and Susak and Brač and Šolta, Dubrovnik, and Motovun all this year. And it's a very cool thing. I love doing this job. I'm so thankful to all of you who are here every week and support what we do at Expat in Croatia, because if you didn't, we would have to do something else. And this is just a super cool job. We all love doing it, and we couldn't do it without you. So I'm very thankful for that. It's an awesome thing that we get to do to promote Croatia and support Croatia in any way that we can. And yeah, we just love it so much. I'm thankful that over the last 12 years, I've been able to develop a family here. Lots of Croatians, lots of foreigners from all over the place. So it's a really special thing to share Thanksgiving with them. Like, there were 15 people at my house last night, and only one other person was an American. And they've all grown to really appreciate this holiday and look forward to this holiday, because it can be a joyous one. It can be a joyous one, even though there's a stereotype in America that is not a joyous one, because families are usually fighting, which is absolutely the truth. But aside from that, I'm just ultimately just grateful for every day that I get to live in Croatia. Tremendously so. Every day. So yeah, that's what I'm thankful for this year. I'd love to know what you guys are thankful for. And hey, buddy. Hey, Michael. So there you go. I'm really glad that you're here. So we have 5 questions today, and that's it. I don't have anything else to intro you on. It's the end of the year. We're kind of winding down a bit, but also preparing for 2025. So lots of laws are going to be passed probably before the end of the year. We have lots of summaries to make of all those law changes. We have lots of laws to read, rule books to read, so that way we can prepare for 2025 and let you know the scoop on everything that has changed. So that's usually what we're doing in December. That's really the bulk of our day to day, is preparing for the next year, so you can know exactly what's going on and know the facts. So yeah. But aside from that, yeah, we're all ready for the holidays, I gotta say. It always kicks off with Thanksgiving, for me at least. Although I was having a conversation with a few people last night, and to me, I feel like Croatians start the holiday season after the olive harvest. And I was asking a Croatian friend of mine if he agreed, and he was like, yeah, actually that makes total sense. So I don't know, do you agree? Because I really think that once the olive harvest happens in mid-October, Croats are just like, we're done for the year. We're just going to start winding down in this slow descent to Christmas. I like it. I like it. All right, so first question. This is an anonymous question from one of my consulting sessions. Do things like family name, profession, or income and assets come into consideration with regards to citizenship? All right, I'm going to go through each one of these one by one. First, family name. Yes, if your last name sounds Serbian, it could be a problem. Profession. It only matters if you hold a position with a government, a foreign government, or you used to hold a position with a foreign government. We did have a situation like this with someone who held that kind of role, and he got summoned to Zagreb, even though he was applying from abroad. And it was just like, you have to come to Zagreb. We're not going to tell you why, but you have an appointment on this date, fly overseas and come to speak to us. And so this person didn't know what the nature of this conversation was going to be until he actually got to Croatia and met with this ministry. So yes, if you work for a foreign government or have it in the past, yes, your profession could matter. Income? No. Income is not a factor when it comes to granting citizenship on any of the bases. It's not a factor. Apparently, at one time, it used to be a factor. I learned not too long ago, someone who'd gotten citizenship, I think at least 15 years ago, income was a factor. And actually, there needed to be some sponsorship by this person's spouse's parents. And I was like, really? So yeah, one time it did, it no longer does. Would this be for all levels of government? Probably not. I think that most likely it's really just related to probably national security, military, intelligence, that kind of stuff. I don't think if you necessarily, I mean, I'm not there. When you do a citizenship application, you have to submit a background check, okay, from your country of nationality, citizenship. But in addition to that, the Croatian government does another background check on you. They do their own background check through their intelligence services, okay? So I can't speak exactly to what it is that they look for, and they're not going to share with us exactly what they look for and what kind of scrutiny they're going to give if you have a government job, like let's say that you work for the Department of Health or something, or the post office. I don't think that's going to matter. I think it's really going to be like what I said, national security, intelligence, military, administrative, that kind of thing. That's probably what they're focusing on, but heads up. Oh, municipal government. I would think you'd probably be okay in that situation. Okay. Hey, look, at a maximum, they're just going to call you to a meeting and talk to you about it. But if you don't have like big security clearances, probably going to be okay. All right. So I have a couple of guides for you. One, how to apply for Croatian citizenship. That covers all of the bases. And then also 10 things to know before applying for Croatian citizenship. So if you're on YouTube, you can get those down in the description of this video. And if you're on Instagram, send us a DM, Facebook, LinkedIn, people, drop a link. Okay. So our next question comes from Sakti here on Instagram. As a foreigner, if I get a tax return, can I be eligible for permanent residence? So unrelated. Completely unrelated. You can apply for permanent residence or long-term residence, regardless of whether or not you have filed a tax return. Not at all related, okay? So tax status is just not a part of permanent residence. We do have a guide on how non-EU citizens can apply for long-term residence or permanent residence. So if you would like that, down below, message, comment, the whole thing. All right. So this next question comes from Sarah, like me, but with an H, here on Instagram. I'm in Zagreb and I like to know where I can read books. Any libraries around where I can find membership for reading English books? Yeah, totally. So if you have residence, you can become a member of the Zagreb City Library, Knjižnice Grada Zagreba. and borrow books from there. They have many books in English, especially newer titles. They usually have the same book in English as well as Croatian. A Croatian publisher will translate it into Croatian. There's also the American Corner Zagreb inside one of the libraries, which is a partnership between the Zagreb City Library and the U.S. Embassy. And there they have English books, magazines, DVDs, that kind of stuff. There's actually, I think, like maybe 5 or 6 American Corners around the country. You can find that on the U.S. Embassy website. They have a map of where all of them are. There's not one in Split. I requested one. We'll see if that's a thing that happens in the future. So for buying books, all the bookstores usually have some kind of section in English, but Znanje has the largest section of all the popular titles in English. Another one would be Hoću knjigu, so I wish for a book. They also have a good English section. And then I would recommend online libristo.hr. They have a great selection of English books and like new ones and kind of like obscure books, I would have to say, in English. So I've started ordering from them and I've been really, really pleased about it. And since you're in Zagreb, there is kind of a very nice bookie cafe called Buksa. It's on the kind of eastern side of the city center. So you pay a membership fee. I mean, I paid my membership fee way back in the day, so it was like 30 kuna, but you just pay it once and then you can be a member of this cafe bar. But they do have like a library where there are books that you can read, but also you can just kind of sit in a quiet space and drink tea. Read books, drink tea. Yes. I like Buksa, but I haven't been back in a really long time, but I highly suggest it. All right. So here are all of the links that I can provide you. So all of these places where you can buy books, the American Corner and the City Library of Zagreb, all of that stuff. YouTube people down in the description, Instagram people send us a message. Everyone else make a comment. Okay. So this brings us to our lawyer tip of the week. Yay. All right. So this is a bit of a different tip because it is going to include something you may not know, but all of it is stuff you may not know, but it's kind of like 2 parts. Okay. So there's going to be the tip on something that you can do, something actionable, but there is some really great kind of background context to Croatia's legal system that I'm going to share with you. So this is a really meaty one today. Super meaty. In honor of Thanksgiving. Okay, so in other countries, you can create a living will or an advance directive to define what you want to happen in case you go into a coma or are incapacitated. This has only been possible in Croatia since 2014. Croatia doesn't like to give people too much free will or responsibility, but this isn't just Croatia. In the world, broadly speaking, excluding China, there are 2 main legal systems: Anglo-Saxon and Continental Europe. Croatia falls under Continental Europe, and the US, UK, and other Commonwealth nations fall under Anglo-Saxon. Now, under the Anglo-Saxon model, the law develops organically based on cases and precedents. Now, this system is softer and more flexible, which gives more autonomy to participants in legal affairs like wills, contracts, and deals. You can also easily authorize someone to make decisions for you. Now, under the Continental Europe model, there are rules and laws that are written to anticipate almost all situations in advance. Cases are only used to fill in the gaps. Because the law is defined, it sits above contracts in terms of hierarchy. The state wants to take care of you and make the decisions on your behalf. This is true for all of Europe. In 2014, Croatia implemented the anticipated directive, so you can decide who will handle your medical care, housing, and financial decisions on your behalf if you cannot do it for yourself. For it to be enforced, it requires the highest level of notarization, called solemnizacija, with preparation by a lawyer. Solemnizacija is when you sit at the notary and you go through every single line and affirm that you understand. If you do not speak Croatian, you have to have a court interpreter who's going to translate it line by line. Anyone can be your guardian who is at full legal capacity. It's still not used broadly, and there is not much experience in this system yet. It's only defined briefly in the law, and it's still unclear whether such a directive would be, where it would be registered and activated. Many foreign residents are concerned about what will happen to them if they die or are incapacitated. So this is a good option. Now, as a follow-up to this, we have a series called How to Die in Croatia. So far, we have written 4 parts. We are working on our 5th part right now, which will probably include more about the living will. But, you know, I meet so many people from all around the world who want to come live in Croatia, and so many of them are like, I want to live in Croatia forever. And if you're going to live in Croatia forever, you're going to die in Croatia probably. And, you know, maybe this is something you thought about in your home country, but you may not be thinking about it here. So what I want to communicate is if you do intend to live in Croatia forever, you should probably know how to sort out your affairs. And yeah, maybe it's a bit of a weird topic, but that's what we do here at Expat in Croatia, is we do weird topics and we talk about bureaucracy, and there is a huge bureaucracy around death no matter where you are. So the series that we already have goes over, you know, how to prepare before you die, what's going to happen after, inheritance, making a will, donating your body to science, funerals, all that kind of stuff. But you know what? There's still more that we haven't even spoken about. So hence, Episode 5 is coming. So yeah, if you want any of those, expatinCroatia.com or contact us, and we'd be more than happy to share those with you. And if there's a question you have about how to prepare for death, what happens after you die, and anything related to that, of course, anything at all you can ask us, but anything related to that, you want to know, drop a comment, send us a message, because we might do your question here. We will probably definitely try and include it in one of our How to Die in Croatia series. So there is no question that is too far-fetched. We've even talked about how you bring people's ashes or bodies back to Croatia, or how to take them back out the other direction. And I've talking to Jesus. Oh, sorry. I'm a little tired. My brain's not working so good. But I've spoken to a lot of Croatian diaspora who are bringing their parents back home from abroad, wherever they passed. And you know, that's been part of it. They need to figure out exactly how they can do that. So we've got the resources for that. Alrighty. So the next question comes from frequent flyer here, Daryl Can Croat on Instagram. How do you transfer car ownership for your spouse? So you can transfer car ownership within the family using a darovni ugovor, which is a gifting contract. So this can be done at tehnički pregled, which is the technical inspection. You can buy this contract at any papirnica or narodne novine. So a papirnica is a stationery store, a paper store. So there are lots of forms that you can buy for Croatia. Sometimes there's just procedures where you need a specific form, and you can always usually get them at a papirnica or narodne novine. Okay, so the law on local taxes in Article 9 prescribes that inheritance and gift tax is not paid by spouses, descendants, ancestors in a direct line, as well as adopted children and adopted parents who are in such a relationship with the deceased or donor. It's a lot of legalese, but I think you get the point. Additionally, there is no admin fee that is charged for the acquisition of a used motor vehicle based on a gift contract. So that's how you go about it. We do have a source link for this. So if you would like that, Daryl, you can hit us up. We can give that to you, or anybody else who would like that. All right, this is our last question for today. This comes from Anna, also here on Instagram. How can we notarize our rental contract if our landlord lives abroad? Ooh, this is a good one. Okay. First, I will explain to you why a rental contract will need to be notarized. So, whenever you are approved for residence in Croatia, you have to provide a notarized rental contract. Okay? This proves your address. And you didn't always have to give a notarized rental contract. You could do a notarized rental contract, or your landlord could come down to MUP with you. There was actually even a time where I didn't even have to do any of that rigmarole. I just had to take the signed contract with me to MUP. But a few years ago, 3 or 4-ish, I'd have to say, MUP changed this and said, nope, they've all got to be notarized, period. Why did they do that? They did that because whenever you have a rental contract or purchase contract, either for a car or a house, property, notarized, the public notary is required by law to submit that to the tax office because those things are subject to tax for someone usually. Okay? So for the rental contract, the owner is subject to tax on renting out long-term. There is one tax for accommodation and there's a different tax for renting long-term. So that is how the tax office finds out about it. So one thing that's been really interesting to see is that a lot of the ministries in Croatia don't really talk to each other. Does not appear to be a whole lot of collaboration there. They all kind of act like autonomous units. But this is one of those few instances where I saw that the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of the Interior were like in cahoots. So this is a way not only to validate a rental contract and standardize that process at MUP, but it also ensures that all the rental contracts get reported to the tax office. Although most Croatians who rent don't have a rental contract. It's really mostly just foreigners that have rental contracts because we're the ones who absolutely need to register our address to be able to get our ID cards. Whereas it's not uncommon for Croatians to use a family address that they know is never going to change. You know, it could be their parents' house, or some other family home, wherever their kind of main home is. And then they go and they rent someplace else and they don't have a contract. And because they don't have a contract, they can pay cheaper rent as well. There's a much higher degree of trust. There's a lower risk that that person is going to just up and leave one day because they're not going to get kicked out of the country. They're a citizen. They could be there much longer. And overall, the hassle is lower for a landlord that way. So for foreigners, though, we absolutely have to have a rental contract. So yeah. That is why you have to have it notarized. However, let's go back to this question. Why then, or not know why, how does someone notarize a rental contract if their landlord is abroad? Which more and more I'm seeing that happening. It does not have to be notarized if it is submitted or reported to the tax office voluntarily. So you, as the renter, can take that rental contract to the tax office and get it stamped, and then you can take it to MUP. That's how you do it. And that's okay. That is the instance when it does not need to be notarized. So yes, you could go through a notarization process, but it would be way hella complicated for them to do it abroad. They would need to go to a Croatian embassy and do it there because it would need to be done by a Croatian notary, or it could be done by a foreign notary, but then it has to be apostilled, and that's a whole thing. So this is by far the easiest way to do it. What can I give you? We have a list of all of the tax offices around the country broken down by županija, which is county. So if you would like that, send us a DM, make a comment, look in the description, all of those things. And then you can have that. So yeah. And going to the tax office is not that big a deal, usually. If you don't speak in Croatian, sometimes it can be a challenge. So maybe take a Croat friend with you who can translate. But just be very patient and make sure you knock on doors before you enter them. And because usually at the tax office, it's just a bunch of kind of nameless doors with numbers on them. They're all the doors are closed. So it can be very intimidating for sure. There's not a whole lot of bedside manner, but why would there be? It's a tax office. So yeah, that's the deal with notarized rental contracts. Okay. That's it. So I think I told you a couple weeks ago that Cam was going to start doing 5 Question Friday on the first Friday of the month. going forward. So next Friday is the first of the month, and Cam will be doing her first ever monthly takeover of 5-Question Friday. So yay! Yay, 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 yay. I'm very excited for her. She entertains me greatly. So yeah, that's it. What am I going to do the rest of this weekend? Well, today I'm going to continue to live in my joyous fiaca hibernation. Tomorrow I'm going to go to some jazz night at the Daltonist in Split. That should be cool. There's a woman, I think she's performing jazz, who I met. She's an artist. She did actually some art that was presented at the AI conference that I just saw a couple weeks back, or was at a couple weeks back. And then Sunday, I'm going hiking with a very good friend of mine in an undisclosed location somewhere around Dalmatia. She's going to surprise me the day of, and I'm really excited about it. Hiking in the fall and the spring in Croatia is one of my most favorite things to do. It's quiet. The weather is usually gorgeous. It's not too cold. It's not too hot. So yeah, I mean, there might be some Bora. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, so I hope you guys have a joyous weekend. If you are an American, happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to all. And think about, no matter if you're American or not, think about what it is that you're thankful for, because that's something that we should all do periodically. It's important to think about the stuff that we're thankful for, and it helps, really kind of like, I don't know, blow away all the stuff that we're not grateful for. So thanks for being here, and I'm so grateful of the time we have together, and I will see you guys December 12th, I think, is going to be, that might be my last one of the year. So, oh yeah, I think that's going to be my last one of the year because, yes, it is. That is my last one. So next week, Cam, the week after, that is the last 5-Question Friday of 2024. So I hope I will see you for that. Because we take 2 weeks off at the holidays, and during that time I don't do 5-Question Friday because we all deserve a vacation, but I will be doing a best of 2024 questions collage. So that is what you will have. So even if you are here every Friday, don't worry, there will still be some content for you to watch over the holidays when you're, not doing family stuff. Or obligations, or running back and forth from different Christmas parties and malls and that whole thing. So yeah, I'll leave you something entertaining to watch over the holidays. And then I will be doing the very first 5-Question Friday of the year, which I think is on January 3rd or 4th? 3rd maybe? So I will do that first one to kick off 2025. Oh my gosh, I can't believe 2025 is about to be upon us. That is bonkers to me. Oh, one more thing I'm going to say. All right, so there is this punk ska band from Bosnia that I really like called Dubioza Collective. And I saw them play here in Split at Starry Plots in 2018, I think it was. I had the best time. And I've gotten a lot of my friends in Texas into Dubioza Collective, and I have them on a Google alert because they don't come to Croatia very often. So I always want to make sure I don't miss it. And so I got a Google alert that they are going to be playing on Riva in Split for New Year's Eve. Oh. I am so incredibly excited. So if you're going to be in Split on New Year's Eve and you spot me on Riva, say hi. I think it'll be hard because my guess is there'll be 50,000 people there, which is very intense. I've not gone down to Riva for New Year's in probably a good 5 years, but I'm pretty excited about this. So I'm going to dance all night and see the fireworks and ring in the new year. So yeah, all right, that's it. Now I'm done rambling. Oh, but you love it. That's why you're here. Okay. Can't hear me? Really? All right, well, I'm going anyways. Thank you so much for being here. There'll be a replay up soon if you just joined us. And see you in 2 weeks. Bye. Vidimo se.